And we
Hey,
are.
we're live. We're back. Cassie and Liz.
Look at us back in action. We haven't had a live together for a while. I am so excited to be here.
Me too. And this is going to be such a fun thing to talk about. I have been so excited to do this.
Oh gosh, I feel like it's gonna get weird. I feel like it's gonna get weird, and that's my favorite. So I'm so
we love it.
Real quickly, I noticed, first of all, I wanted to shout out, look at this, the Spicy Idaho Queen Bee. She was my very first member. It blew my mind when she signed up for my membership. So thank you. I'm so glad you're here. And also we have a mod today, Miss Sunrise Dawn. So
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Show her some love, please. So today we are talking about protest art. What do you think of when you think about protest art, Cassie Marie?
I actually don't know much about it at all. I think about like performance art kind of. The first thing that popped in my head, have you ever seen that art piece? Oh, I can't remember where it was, but it was that like AI programmed mechanical arm that like scraped paint for like years and years, and it was like on display somewhere for years, and it just like kept scraping paint until the paint turned all crazy from like the oil from the actual machine, and then it started to look like blood, and then it slowly just got like more panicked and had to clean up this paint that was like going nuts. That to me is all I think of when I think of like protest art, but it was more of like a performance piece.
I love that. This is why you and I are here today, because that is exactly that is so much what I want to show you. I'm messaging Cassie Marie. I'm just like, hey, I'm really into this weird protest art ideas. Will you talk about it with me? She's totally here for it. And I love that comes to mind, because I feel like there's some more commercial ideas out there about protest art or this or that, but the performance stuff, just okay, let's dive in. Can I just show you? Can I show you
this? Show me.
Okay, bear with me here. So this first guy's name is Francis Elise, I believe. We'll hear it a little bit better. Let me share my screen. How do I do this? Present. Oh, it's already on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it going?
Oh, you're not seeing it.
Oh,
hold on. That won't work. I'm just watching it by myself. This is so fun, guys. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
I wasn't sure if you were watching it or if it was like loading. I was like,
Hold on, you guys. I am not the best.
You're good. We're going to be here for a while. We're chilling. We're talking about all the things. Had you seen the thing that I was talking about? I wish I knew what it was called. Someone in the comments said they'd seen it.
Yeah, I have seen it. We can pull it up actually here. I'm sure there's a video of it. I have seen it. It was like depressing. Didn't it end up shutting down?
Yeah, it made me cry. And it felt like kind of a form of protest of like how we work ourselves to death and like panic over like trying to keep things like in line.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of protesty to me.
Oh my gosh. Try this. I'm also going to mute myself because my husband's calling. Hold on.
Francis Alice is a Belgian artist born in Antwerp in 1959. He has consistently channeled his unique poetic and imaginative sensibility into addressing anthropological and geopolitical concerns, often focusing on observations of everyday life. His artistic practice, which encompasses a wide range of media such as installation, video, painting and drawing, and public actions as performance, is characterized by its exploration of these themes through what he describes as a sort of discursive argument composed of episodes, metaphors, or parables. Throughout his career, Alice has engaged in multifaceted projects that involve thought-provoking actions. These actions include carrying a leaking can of paint along the Israel-Palestine border, filming his attempts to enter the center of a tornado, and orchestrating the movement of a massive sand dune by 10 centimeters. No matter how absurd some of these performative actions might seem at first glance, they are rooted in a philosophical argument, a socio-political issue.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I had to cough right when you said that.
Yeah. So go ahead.
That's wild.
It's super
I
wild.
yeah.
Keep telling. I have so much to say, but keep going.
Well, I was just my jaw dropped when they were saying that he filmed himself attempting to like walk into a tornado.
Right.
That's crazy. And like the leaking paint can. Tell me what your thoughts are, and then I'll.
Yeah. So this
Your
piece
thoughts.
right here that's on the screen, this one blew me away. And it was so bizarre because I'm just thinking, what in the world is happening here? Let me show you. Can it switch over or do I have to? I think I have to do this every time to put a new page on. So hold on. Every time. Yeah. So it's the sheep thing. Not surprisingly, sheep really seem to come like a common theme in protest art, which kind of makes sense. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but just like get the vibe of this. I just want you to get the vibe. It says, I'm not going to, basically it's the multiplication of sheep. And this is, I made a note because this is so fascinating to me. I'm like, why the hell did he do this? It is because where they're circling around is in the central square of Mexico City. And in 1968, civil servants were forced to come there to welcome the new government. And instead of welcoming the new government in civil disobedience, they turned their back because I guess there's like a big place where the leaders were speaking. They turned their back to them and they bleated like sheep. And I don't know, it's very V for Vendetta. Like you can't arrest everybody because everybody does it. And so this is done in 1997 and is, I don't know, like still a commentary, a political commentary, I suppose. So I'm going to skip through a couple so you can just kind of get the vibe.
Yeah.
Go for a little bit, round, like adding sheep. There's got a bunch of sheep. They go around for a while, then they like one by one go off. 25 minutes long. And the bell just goes. I mean, as a form of protest, let me take this off of here for a second. That blows my mind. It blows my mind. And it's so powerful to me that it almost makes no sense. I really am attracted to that aspect of it because it makes you go like, what the fudge? What is happening here? And I love that about it.
Yeah, that's my like initial reaction is I'm like, okay, what's happening? Like, what is the purpose? What is like the goal? What is the outcome? And I think with like protest art, there's not always an immediate like point and focus and outcome. It's supposed to give you a feeling. And I'm sure, I don't know anything about this piece, so I'm just kind of thinking and asking questions, but like I would assume the sheep are a representation of the people or like how the people are treated or whatever like oppression the people were under at the time. And so the idea of like him circling with sheep and doing it slowly and like for a long time and adding and then losing and like it just evokes like this really intense emotion and makes me want to know more. Like it makes me want to understand like why he would do that, why he's feeling that way, what that might be representing in that time and in that political climate.
Yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to share this yet. Sorry, I'm just but I completely agree. And I think it's makes the person connect the dots. It makes the viewer, the artist, at their own discretion, start asking questions. And there's not a lot that can make a person do that. You know, like it's
right.
pretty. Okay, I'm going to stop this. I wanted to show you another thing. Oh, it was that one. Dang it, I had the right one. I wanted to go back and just show you one little thing here because it blew my stinking mind that this is what this guy is up to. because they just kind of glaze over it back here. Where's the one where he is this? Let's see.
Innovations of everyday life.
This is
His artistic practice.
He's drawing attention to like geopolitical, climate change, stuff like that. They moved a sand dune by 8 inches. That's what these people are doing here. This is like the entire intention of all these people getting together, and they're using their shovels and they're moving a sand dune by 8 inches. And they proved that like people can affect sand dunes. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, cool. More impressive to me than moving the sand dune is getting that many people together to agree to try.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, we're going in weird. We're going in hot and heavy weird here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you another one. Let me look at my phone really quick to make sure we're on track. Not on track time-wise, but just like I show you the right one. Okay, Mona Hatoum, I believe is her name. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to click her. There she is.
Mona Hatoum was born into a Palestinian family in Beirut, Lebanon, in 1952, and she has been based in London since 1975. The artist intertwines poetry and politics, delving into various artistic mediums encompassing performance, installation, sculpture, video, photography, and also works on paper. Her artistic journey commenced in the 1980s, marked by visible...
Okay. Like, I don't know how brave someone has to be. It gets weirder. It gets weirder.
Video and
I
performance
love this.
that explored the human body in profound ways. Yet, from the early 1990s onwards, Hatoum increasingly embarked on creating large-scale installations designed to immerse the viewer in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, juxtaposing desire with revulsion and fear with fascination.
I mean, that's the next person. That's not her. That's weird. That's some weird stuff to me. And I don't know who's brave enough to try doing that in such a public way. But one of the things that appeals to me about all of these, aside from the moving of the sand dune, is that you can do it with anything. You don't actually have to be classically trained or professionally trained or anything. It's really just the execution of taking a super bizarro idea and just like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It takes you have to be moved by something to do it. Like the reason I love the idea of protest art and I'm really interested in learning so much more about it because I don't know much about it is because it requires someone to be moved so deeply by a subject matter or a belief or a wrong that maybe they can't immediately fix, that they have to express themselves in some way. Like they have to. And I don't know, like I think when it comes to cults and like what you're doing and some of the stuff that we usually talk about and are involved in, that's really impactful. And that's part of why I love abstract art and what got me into abstract art post cult and post coercive control is because I didn't need any particular like professional training in it. It was just a way for me to express what I was feeling and just start and just put things on paper and not even worry about making things look a certain way, but just experimenting and trying and expressing. And to want to do that as a form of protest is just beautiful. It's just beautiful to me. And what you did with writing all of the names on the scroll, that idea that you just had, and like you were just so moved by all of these children in Scientology that you did it and you wanted to pull it out in front of where you were protesting and where you were objecting to the treatment of those children, that you needed to create something like that energy. You were just so moved to create and you did it. And it was really, really powerful. And a lot of people were moved by that. And I think that that's really important sometimes for our healing.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, and I guess that's really a great point, because it makes somebody who's maybe powerless or feels powerless to do something. Maybe they're not right there, or like I was at home in my living room making that list, thinking about going to the protest. But you're right. It's like you have to be moved and compelled. But once you are moved and compelled, you almost have to do something.
Right.
Really. I mean, that's been my experience.
Yeah.
But it's been really interesting to me to see, especially because history sort of tells the tale of which of these artists' presentations or performances made an impact. Because for every one of these, I'm sure there's thousands of other people who did things that, it's
that
not
no one knows about.
Yeah, exactly. I want to, you know what? I wasn't going to pull it up. Maybe when the next clip is playing, I want to pull it up, because there's actually something. Dang it. Now, okay, whatever. Let's watch the next one. But I wasn't going to bring a particular thing up, but now that we're talking more, I feel like I should. So let's look at the next one here. Let me make sure I've got my name right, because these are really wild names. Okay. Do you know what Dadaism is?
No, I've never heard of that.
Art is wild. Art is freaking wild. Okay, like back in the 1916, after World War I in Zurich, everybody was so depressed about the war and about everybody just dying and it being awful that they really turned to absurdity. And this Dadaism was this absurdity. Okay, I'll show you a little clip. It's like a 2-minute.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a whole movement. And then and it's like still alive today. Hold on. Oh wait, I'm just not very good at this technical part.
It's okay.
Stop screen.
It takes a lot to try to talk and think and figure it out and pull the right things up.
Yeah, and I thought that something else. Okay, here we go. Oh, I also pulled up a time. I think it's right now. It's 57. Okay, we're almost there. We're not going to watch this whole thing. Okay, let's see if that works.
World War I in Zurich, Switzerland, the Cabaret Voltaire, a meeting spot for artists and poets, was opened up by Hugo Ball and Emmy Hennings. As the artists and poets in Switzerland started becoming more abstract in their writing, began dressing in cardboard to put on shows, and got even more ironic with their art, they realized they had created something beyond reason. Dada was an art movement that was anti-art, a part of society that was anti-society. All concepts of logic and rational thought were thrown out the window for the absurd and nonsensical, leaving many of their art up to chance. The only goal of Dadaism, if you could even call it that, was to reveal the hypocrisy and meaninglessness within everyone.
That's my kind of shit.
I love that. Oh my gosh, can I tell you something really quick?
Absolutely.
That made me think of. So when I was deconstructing from like Christianity,
right.
I started thinking about the Bible in a different way before I started moving more towards like atheism. But one of my favorite books of the Bible when I was deconstructing was Ecclesiastes, because like I'm pretty sure that's the right one. If it's the wrong one, I'm going to sound really stupid right now. But the whole point of the book is that everything is meaningless. And I was just so enamored by the fact that there was even this part of Bible, this thing that I was so confused about and that seemed to be being used to harm so many people, that was expressing that same sentiment of like people suffering and not knowing like how to move forward in that. And like the whole thing is he keeps saying over, like, it's all meaningless. Everything is meaningless. So like take joy in the things that you can take joy in, and like don't get too wrapped up in all of these things that are hurting you or hurting people or whatever, not in a way to like forget about it, but as a way for yourself to not keep like beating yourself up about things. Everything is meaningless. So I love that, because that was kind of like part of my deconstruction. That's why.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important because it's almost like a way to disconnect really meaningful, heavy human experiences and just sort of take a step back. And I would expect it affects our central nervous system, to be immersed in that type of just like fun for the sake of having fun, because high control environments, high control groups, there's not fun for the sake of having fun. Like you're making products, or you're a product, or your time is a product, or your energy, or whatever it is. So Dadaism to me is like, gives this sort of permission to just throw every sense of reason out the door. And I love that. And I feel empowered by that. And Dada is so, it's like, it was a form of protest, and it was like anti-society, anti-culture, anti-everything, to the point where there's a slogan that says Dada is anti-Dada. And
oh my God, I love that.
And I figured that had to be added today because it's so protesty that it's like anti.
Yes. That's amazing.
But there's such beauty in that, because I don't know how you feel, but in the world of activism and education, and we've talked about this before, sometimes like the Danny Masterson trial, it's so important. And we really wanted, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but we talked a lot through this process. I think we both really wanted to convey the seriousness of it to people our viewers or whatever. But at the same time, you got to blow off steam somehow. And I think that this type of art is that. It's like a way to throw it all.
It all can get really heavy. And going back to what you were saying about how, like, in the high control environment, there is so much meaning to all of it. Like, not only are you a product, not only are you always producing something and doing all that stuff, but I found in my cultic environments, everything had to have a meaning, like good or bad. There was so much meaning to everything. And I think we can get caught up in that, in the activism of it after leaving. There are a lot of risks in activism of just replacing what you did in the cult with what you're doing outside of the cult, or trying to take down the cult, or being like an activist outside of it. You can do it if you don't deconstruct. You do it in the same way that you did things when you were in the cult. You could have this like grand, not achievable in this lifetime goal or idea that you just endlessly strive towards. And it can get heavy. It can get exhausting. And I think one of the ways that we combat that is, we do educate, and we do take on serious things, and we do the hard work. And there's gotta be an aspect of this that's just, we gotta let it go sometimes. We can't constantly be striving towards some unattainable goal. Right. There has to be something else.
Right. Well, and it's funny.
Or nothing else. Or like a lack of something, I think.
Yeah, or a lack. Yeah. Well, and it's like, this is kind of the opposite pendulum, truly, in a weird way, to a cult for me, is like Dadaism. Because in a cult, like you said, everything is so loaded. Every word is loaded. Every moment, every expectation means your eternity or the next billion years or whatever it is. And Dadaism is not like that. It's like they were dressing up in paper hats and like putting their tie on funny and just having a laugh. But in a weird way, I'm going to show you this. In fact, some people were mentioning in the comments, there's this like one that started it all. And I want to put this comment up here because I want to get back to it in a second here. But there's a fine line between absurd humor and tastelessness. And just keep that in your brain, like in your little mind for a second, because let me fast forward this, and I just want to get to this particular. Let's see if this is it. I probably should have
claimed to allow any piece submitted by an artist. Took interest in a New York art exhibition that claimed to allow any piece submitted by an artist. Wanting to prove them hypocrites, he submitted a urinal turned on its side with the name R. Mutt scrawled on it. Titled Fountain, the piece was rejected, which was not only a victory for Duchamp, but a victory for art as a whole, as the bourgeois art society was being revealed to be more hypocritical by the day.
That's hilarious.
So I love this picture. I mean, whoever, like early trolls were like not on the internet, they're just drawing cartoons and they're just trolling people. But the urinal is really famous now. It's like the Dada symbol or whatever. And I don't know, I've been trying to rack my brain what the equivalent might be. Like, with Scientology. It's just a weird, like, just how would you apply Dadaism to that? My brain hasn't, like, I haven't quite jumped that hurdle.
Mhm.
But the absurdity of it all makes me really want to.
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be some, I don't even know. Just put like a credit card machine outside their everyone. I'm just like, with this really long, I'm into receipts, I guess. Really long receipt for all of the
Yeah.
money. I don't know what the fuck with receipts. I need something new. Yeah, so let me show you one more clip because this was from 1916 and this is still happening. Like Dada, there's like a Dada revival in Germany, and that has never been anything on my list that I've like really wanted to do, but to go to the heart of Dadaism would be pretty freaking cool. Okay, this is just like a quick little minute.
It's more than an art movement. It's much more. It designates an attitude formed back then in reaction to the zeitgeist. And that attitude is still valid today.
Damals wie auch heute gegenüber dem aktuellen Zeitgeist einnehmen muss.
The Russian punk band Pussy Riot could be seen as a latter-day example of Dada.
That's what I remember being up here. Do you know about them?
No.
Oh my gosh. Pussy Riot is this like masked female band and they're always getting arrested. Let's look it up because if you want to talk about freaking protest, I'll just
educate me.
Well, I probably shouldn't put the P word into my search and then be right here. Let's find just a good one. This is 3 minutes and 8 seconds. 3 minutes. She's flipping people off. I love it.
A Trump News Network special report.
Oh, Trump
We are
News.
glad to
Is this a? Oh, this is.
announce billionaire and everybody's favorite Donald Trump
I didn't know
has
this
won
was
the
political.
presidential elections.
We are going to
All right. I don't like the political aspect of this. Just, I mean, I guess it is really political, but just hold on a second. Let's just watch one of
Yeah.
their news videos. We won't watch the whole thing. Clearly, you see what they're protesting. The police state, or I forget what country.
Big smile for the camera. It's always on. It's all in the protocol. They tap my phone. Golden idols, golden.
I mean, I don't want to play the whole thing, but I'm definitely getting some feels. I'll give it that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch this on my own time. I'm not sure that
Yeah,
the
I'm
image,
gonna look into it for sure.
I'm not sure that the imagery always has to be these like really intense masks and stuff. That seems
Yeah.
like kind of a theme that I don't know that would be my theme. But I think it's interesting. And they're from Russia and they really have protested wearing masks, I think for their identity purposes at times back in the day and whatnot. So I think it means something more.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two more. Are you up for this? Have I worn you?
Yeah.
Have I worn you out with thinking?
No.
I mean, eventually we'll get sick of these things, but watch. Okay, hold on. There's a couple that are not clips here on this. In fact, we'll probably just go down it. So this is 25 most influential works of American protest art since World War II. This is a New York Times. Okay. And I'm just going to, there are a couple on here. We're not going to look at all of them, but there's a couple. I mean, you guys are being like, you're going too fast. I know. It's because I don't want to show my screen. I had these all queued up, but I don't want to do that. Maybe I should because I'm being annoying. This one. Leon Golub, White Squad 5, 1984. And this is a painting. And I just didn't want to overlook or like discount the power of individual paintings or art or more of the classical representations. Because when I was scrolling and I saw this, I was like, yep, there's a very strong emotion right there. Like,
Yeah.
this is a series as well of, I think they're called the Salvadorian Death Squads. I mean, highly political, very violent. And I think this painting in particular does kind of fit the bill as one of those things that like someone isn't going to be painting this on the scene. This is going to be
Right.
something from their memory later or whatever. But what a powerful way. I mean, you can really, what's the word? Not predict. I don't know. Show somebody, like he's clearly showing these soldiers as being violent, horrible aggressors. There's a vibe here. So I just didn't want to overlook the power of that.
Yeah. No, I love that. It makes me, as like a really empathetic person that experiences a lot of emotion and feeling through art, it makes me want to know more, but it also helps me understand how that person must have felt, right? I think it's another way, like, people share their stories and they talk about their emotions and they, you know, share what they're going through. But sometimes when you can express it in different ways, people receive it differently and can understand different aspects of it. So I love that. And it makes me want to know more. Like, I want to look into like what was going on here. Why were they compelled to write this? What might they have been feeling?
Yeah, it's definitely a part of the wow, it's called barbaric realism. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, we should look more into this. Trauma of social violence. I definitely get the vibe of trauma of social violence.
Yeah.
Big time. But how powerful, right? I mean, like, this tells such a story. And I don't know much about classical, like, or proficient art, like how to actually do proportions of humans and stuff. But I don't even feel like this painting has that. Like, it has more of a, I need to show what happened as opposed to like, I'm going to paint this body form, if that makes sense. And I like that about it because it's like just a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit off. Okay, I could sit here and stare, and then we'll just sit on YouTube while I sit here and stare at art. And that's,
I know, we're like,
not anybody's having a good time, but I'm going to go to number 15, hopefully. Oh, I thought I'd be clever and find number 15. Close your eyes if this makes you, or I can do it this way. Duh, I can remove it. I don't have to scroll. Okay, this one is wild. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is so weird. Why are people so weird? And am I allowed to be this weird? Oh my God, I love it.
Of course you are.
Okay.
Okay, what is happening?
What is happening is such a good thing to ask. What is happening is James Luna is bringing attention to indigenous, maybe they word it better. I don't totally understand. Indigenous rights, the like objectification of people who are different in like a scientific sense. So he is alive. That's him. That's his real person.
Okay.
And he's laying down, and it's called the artifact piece. And he just laid there. And I forget where it was. It was like in the Museum of Man, a real museum. And people just came around and they viewed him. And my favorite part about it is the artifacts that they had to present around him to show. What did it have here? So it says he was labeled as though for an anthropological, I can't say it, exhibit. Wow, guys, sorry. There were divorce papers and his college diploma were like his artifacts, his divorce papers. I don't know why, but I
hilarious.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh my goodness.
And he was protesting. I mean, technically this is protest art because it probably says here, guys, I'm gonna get it all wrong. He made his explorations of the way that indigenous people have long been objectified, especially in museums.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, there's something about putting yourself out there in such a way and being like so vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I feel like that's forcing people to like confront what they're looking at, right? Like, how do you feel that I'm a living, breathing person? Does this make you feel differently than like some of the other things you're observing?
Right. Well, and I feel like museums of natural history, they're kind of brutal, right? There's always bones and like taxidermied animals and it's like it's life, but it's very far from life. And this,
Right.
I would be such a brat. I'd be laying there and pretending that I wasn't real and then boo, scaring people. Okay, I think there's another one there. I hope the chat is like enjoying this. Hold on. There's one that is so ridiculous that I had to put it on here. I was just like, what is this lady up to? What the hell is she doing? Okay. And it is something that I feel strongly like I want to protest. Okay. I don't even know what the word semiotics mean. Should we look that up real quick?
Yeah, let's Google it. Do you want me to Google it? Are you done?
The study of signs or symbols and their use or interpretation. That's key. My husband's super into symbols. And so semiotics. Okay, where'd this screen go? Okay. This is Martha Rossler. She has gone on. She grew up and she's like done a ton of other stuff. But this from 1975 really is a work of art. And it is so absurd. I'm not going to give you any context. We're just going to play it. There's little. Her hand is empty. I hope you can see that.
Yeah.
Chopper.
I don't want to keep going too far, but I want you to see the knife part because it is so bizarre. She's like the Amelia Bedelia of like, we're there. Look at with the knife. That was a fork. Whatever. She does the same thing with the knife. Okay, I know. What in the hell? How could this possibly be protest art? But my brain is like expanding as I'm watching these ridiculous YouTubes in the middle of the night because I get it, right? Like it's this mundane, ridiculous crap being like in the kitchen or this weird old expectation to like be in the kitchen. And this is a rebellion of just being like, I know your stupid spoon is for eating and like, I'm going to put it on my head.
Yeah.
So childish and it's so Dadaistic and it's so ridiculous, but I gotta say, it probably feels so damn good.
That's incredible. I actually really love that one.
I know. I'm just like, what are you doing? And you got, I mean, this, let's not forget that like, this is on the New York Times top protest art. Like this was done in 1975. Or the what was the other one? The sheep was in 1997. So these are older pieces of art that have actually been recognized as being powerful and have like stood the test of time or whatever, which I think is crazy. Okay, can I show you one more thing and then we can do comments and get off sidetracked? I know I'm just like too much. This is probably
no, you're fine. No, I love this because like I know nothing about it, so I feel like you're educating me, and I might have a couple questions when you're done, and then we can see what rabbit holes this takes us down.
I love it. Well, and I love that I'm spreading like new information to you. This is all new to me. This has all been stuff that I have sought information after going down to the last protest in LA. Like none of this was anything on my radar or anything I had ever heard of. And then I've been kind of like off of YouTube, off of social media for, producing content. And so like, this is what I have been consuming was just this weird art stuff. And I know I've said to people in the past and to all everybody on YouTube that I would put links in the description, and I don't always, but I did pre-make the links this time. So you're done. So for once I will be good on the links. And I really do encourage anybody, particularly the one I've been going back to, which is like top 10 performance arts. They're not even all protest art, but like there's some real wild stuff on there. And I don't know. I feel like a little bit of a weirdo where I need permission to do these things, and seeing other people doing things makes me
inspiring.
Yeah. It makes me feel brave. Okay, now this one was more hold on. I'm so excited. I can't stand it. Okay, hold on. Let's see. And this is a little bit of a clip that I'll kind of clip us through. Like we'll watch a little bit. I'll bump ahead so we just get the general. gist of it. Let me find it. Oh no, look, I missed a whole other thing and didn't show you. There's so much here. Except for what I want to show you is not here. Hold on. I have too many tabs open, guys. Let me close these other tabs that we've already talked about. Close. Oh, I'm going to keep that one open in case we go back to it. I can't stop, won't stop. Okay. Here it is. It's these guys. And this is new. This is like a form of protest.
Finally tonight, activists are turning to a new form of protest to call attention to the climate crisis. Over the past few months, climate protesters have targeted priceless works of art, making for viral moments that grab attention, but is the message getting through? Tonight, we look at how these polarizing protests could be both helping and hurting the fight against climate change.
Okay, I'm pausing it right there to just point out that, like, in the Scientology protest world, there's definitely some varying opinions, as there always are, about the value or the worth of protesting. And this is a little different because it's art. But I have heard some comparisons. Some protesters dress up in costumes that some people find offensive. Some people do, I don't know, weird things that other people don't understand, right, when they're protesting. And there's always like a critique going back and forth. And so I think looking at it at a different way kind of blew my mind. So
Visitors at the National Gallery in London stood stunned as two young activists glued themselves beneath an exhibit of Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice?
The protest went viral.
Okay. Hold on. They've been doing it everywhere. I just want to show, this is the creator, the start. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Hold on. Her.
It was not vandalized. It had a sheet of glass on it. So really what everyone was becoming so outraged about was a bit of soup thrown on a piece of glass. And unfortunately, there's no pane of glass protecting the life support systems that we need to survive, you know? There's no pane of glass protecting the people in Pakistan from the devastating flooding.
I mean, that pretty much gives like a little bit of the gist of it, but that was one of the first things that came up when I was looking up protest art, is people throwing food, mashed potatoes, it's food on priceless pieces of art, and then super gluing themselves into museums.
Yeah.
Which I really don't stand for necessarily at all. I don't think it's a personally, like, I like art. I don't want art to get ruined.
Right.
No one's art is even getting ruined, really.
That's why my jaw dropped, because I was like, it was evoking all of these emotions, right? And I'm thinking about like why people think this isn't helpful and like people being outraged and all this stuff. And to have her be like, they're not even ruining the art. There's a piece of glass there. Like, there are so many protections. And like the fact that I didn't even think about that, but like, duh, they're not putting priceless pieces of art on display where someone might accidentally touch it or sneeze on it or cough on it or slip and fall and pull it down. Like, there are protections in place for that art. Duh.
Yeah.
So they're not even ruining the piece of art.
Right.
That's
it's an interesting other layer. That's why I wanted to make sure, because when I played that little part of that clip of that lady talking, because again, first reaction, but I think of protests too of, I don't know when it was, but like when people were destroying art, like priceless old art, because regimes, is that what you say? Regimes in different countries had switched. And so they'll, destroy other past stuff that they don't want to bring forward with their new government or their new ideological system. And that makes me really sad. And so when I first saw people throwing food at priceless art, but that girl was very impassioned. That young person, the way that, what's more important, art or food? Gosh, there was something to that.
And the fact that it's layered, and there is another message where she's like, there's no glass in between the people and the atrocities that they're having to face. So like there was the art, there was the protest, and then there was the commentary, and there was like something behind the commentary as well.
Yeah, and there's no glass protecting. So it is this full circle thought where it's like, I'm so outraged that this would happen to these beautiful pieces of art. And then you go a little bit further where you're like, oh, but it didn't really hurt the art. And then it's like, oh, but the earth is getting hurt, or however you want to look at it. And then you're kind of back to the beginning where it's like, well, why am I outraged about the potato soup? Why am I not outraged about, the earth? So that's in my, so then it's like, well, what is the worth of the protest? Is it like, quote, worth it? Does that make it successful? Even though by all accounts, throwing tomato soup at a priceless piece of art is like shock. It's or tacky even.
Yeah.
Like it's destructive.
Yeah.
So thoughts, was it worth it? Is it quote worth it?
Well, that makes me wonder, like, did you look into when protest art started being a thing? Like, is this since the beginning of time, people have been expressing and like protesting through art? Or is this like a civilization phenomenon? Or like what is like the history of that?
Oh, well, gosh, I'm not the right person to ask, but from the very rudimentary research I've done lately, performance art seems to be a little different. Dadaism does seem to have broken open performance art, which was like in the early 19th century. But obviously there was huge performance art before that. But back in the day, if you've ever heard stories about like the Catholic Church, people were always putting out flyers as like a way of propaganda. I suppose propaganda art, because once you have propaganda
art, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, people, and like if you can imagine medieval sort of cartoons where they're depicting, the king with like big ears or a big nose or something. In a way, that's protest art. I think it's a little different when you have an era of being able to video things, because now we use that tool to see the art, performance art.
Yeah, so that probably makes it really different than it has been used historically.
Yeah, but then it also lends, because you were talking about AI earlier, and then there's that other AI robot that like realized it was going to have to do a menial chore every single day and just turned itself off. Do you remember that one?
No, I've never seen that one, but I'm definitely going to look that up immediately when we're done.
Here, let me see if I can just find it real quick. It's
that resonates with me very deeply.
Yeah.
If I had to permanently do a menial chore, I also would shut off.
Robot. I'm just gonna put robot shuts itself down. This is 18
literally
seconds long.
Resonates so deeply with me, I can't even.
Let me share it again.
Yes. What else would it do?
Is there sound here? I don't think there's actually sound with the video.
Okay.
So it's just a time lapse. It says 15 minutes of it just keeps doing the same thing over and over, and it realizes it's never going to stop. And it just
it only took 15 minutes for it to realize this is dumb. I'm never going to stop.
If this headline is accurate, yeah. I'll take that. I want to look at your paint one real quick too.
Okay.
My screen is a funny. What was it? So AI paint scraping robot.
It had to clean it up, I think. It had to like clean up the paint. Yeah.
Here's a minute long. Oh.
Is that the right one?
That one was, I think I might pick a different video because the first words on that one were really intense. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
It's that one, yeah.
All right, here we go. This video is 3 minutes, so I might kind of bump it. Down.
I can't remember how long that one lasted for. more. Didn't that one go for like years?
I think it might have.
Before it was like, oh, like it's slowly.
Oh, it makes me uncomfortable, but I guess that's a big part of it, right? Like
Yeah.
a big part of, especially protest art in particular, is just like being really uncomfortable. I had a viewer send me an idea of, and I don't know if I'll have the right link, but let me see. Giant puppets were in a protest, and I found that really interesting.
Puppets freak me out.
Well, you better really watch out then. These are giant puppets.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's a fine line, and that thing creeps me out. But I have thought about making like giant puppets to show like a child auditing session, but with actual like giant like marionette type.
Wow. That would be powerful.
I mean, I don't have the skills to like actually
Yeah.
accomplish it, but have you seen these giant
To England's shores comes little Amal, the huge puppet of a 9-year-old Syrian girl, helped along by the wind and a theater community seeking to represent the plight of refugee children.
See, that's protest art too. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
like there's a fine line, right, between activism and protesting. I'm not even sure where that line exists. But
Yeah, that's interesting.
in there, I think there's a person in there. There's these other giant. There's a whole thing about puppets, like a whole thing, and they are creepy, but they're super visible. I think is the thing.
Yeah.
They're like the sizing of them. You can in the photo options, the photographic ability. That's not even a word, but
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all. Well, I had one other one. I want to show you one more. Okay, just one more. Okay, this was actually a lady that we had already covered, but this is an installation piece, and it's like a 30-second thing that I thought was so freaking cool. Stop. Stop. Come here. We talked about her before. What's her name? Oh, my dog. Mona Houghton. We talked about her before, but now she's older and she did this. Hold on, let me show you. Sorry, my dog really distracted me. Will you stop, dude? Okay. Ooh, and she has consistently this whole time for like so many years, she protests surveillance and like keeping people locked up. What's that called? Anyway, it's really fascinating. Here we go. I hope I'm at the right spot. No, I think it's right back here. Okay.
An early example of site-specific installation. This work was inspired by the peculiar wedge-like shape of the room at the back of the showroom gallery, when it was actually located in Bethnal Green. We're talking about 1989 here. I blocked the narrow end of the room with this gate structure, creating a small cell-like space at the far end of the room. So from a distance, it looked like a Dan Flavin installation with fluorescent tubes. Also, the title refers to light, in the sense it's called The Light at the End, and sets up a hopeful, positive expectation that is completely disrupted when you approach the work. Getting close to the structure, you start experiencing an intense heat, and you realize that what was perceived from a distance as bars of light are actually red-hot electric heating elements that can burn you to the bone.
I thought that was so cool. I was like, that thing's cool. Like if you just look
Wow.
at it. But those are like, it's like the inside of a toaster. Okay, anyway, now I'm done. Thank you. Those
the inside of
on the inside of my mind, and where I'm really honestly trying to draw motivation and draw inspiration for how I want to represent myself going forward.
That's incredible. So what do you think inspired like your interest in this? And like, was it the list that you made, the receipt with the names I feel like you've talked about this probably before a lot, so you don't have to like dive into like all of your inspiration behind it. But did you just feel the need to like write people's names down and then you went and like you did the thing and then you were like, wait a second. This is incredible.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's the thing. I had a milestone birthday a couple of years ago, and my oldest is actually graduating from high school this year, and it really has put me into, I mean, I don't wanna say I'm having a midlife crisis. I don't wanna say that.
Not a
But
midlife crisis.
it
Just a change, a life, what do they call it? A new stage. You're
yeah,
on the cusp
a new
of
season
a
of
new
life.
stage.
Well, and one thing I think that really does happen, I don't know if it's happened to you or other people in the chat or in the group or whatever, but you can get wrapped up in the identity of being a parent. You can be wrapped up in the identity of like taking care of others. And then at some point, if you don't have to take care of those others anymore, you can be left with a void. And so I'm kind of trying to be a little proactive about that. But as far as inspiration goes, I have a zero lack of inspiration. I have crazy freaking ideas all the time. All the time. If I was a millionaire, I would just do pop-ups. Like, have you heard my pop-up called Scat, where it's just like poop? They're all very 12-year-old boy. That's okay. It's a poop themed cafe. They probably have these places, but on the back wall, you would have like all the different types of poop in like these clear, very cool lid plexiglass, and then you'd have all these like treats and desserts that were like look like poop.
Brown. That's amazing.
But obviously, that's not the idea that I'm going to run to full execution with. But I don't have any lack of motivation or whatever. But the list was just something that, yeah, people were getting arrested a lot, and people were protesting in a way that I knew I wasn't going to be comfortable with. So part of it was me wanting to like do something,
Right.
like not just stand there and
interesting
talk to people. So, and I wanted to take my brother with me, and I wanted all the other people that couldn't be there, that were speaking out, to be there. So I guess that's why, if that makes sense.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think it's incredible what you're doing. And then the Red String Project. I watched your video where you were walking us through that a little bit. What are you hoping for that to be?
Well, you really want to talk about my big hopes and dreams for real?
Yeah, I do.
If we're talking the top of my dreams, I would like to raise it up to be like gallery level quality, do really well in making it, and have it be, I've got 5 boards now. Oh, I keep hitting my microphone. That's actually one. That's like one
part.
Yeah. And I have about 10 or 12 like in my mind and all planned out. So what I would like to have is I would like to have a warehouse rented or something like that with the release of my next book. Maybe I'll have some of it ready. That you would walk around in a circle, basically a semicircle, and you'd see each board. And if I got really creative and cool, there'd be a QR code and you could get the information, like the background if you wanted to. And then I have a really cool art idea of a huge pile of money. At some point, I'm going to start collecting paper fake money. And I want the middle of it to be this huge, giant pile of like crumpled up money. It could be like all types. I'm probably going to have Monopoly money and this money and that just to freaking get it done. But I want to have a huge pile of money. And then I want to have feet sticking out like the Wizard of Oz. Like, you know, when the house lands on the witch and just her out there, I want to have 3 sets of feet. A businessman, a woman, and a set of kids just like buried under the money, and then walk around and see it. That's my big ass dream. And if I could travel some way, find a situation where people are like, please come to me, you can stay in this place and show your thing, I would just, you know, like melt into in a puddle of happiness. That's what I would.
That's incredible. I love that so much. I hope that you can do that one day. And I find it super interesting that you and I started talking about art like very, very early on when you and I think did our first live together.
Probably.
On TikTok. I'm sure it was mentioned. because I don't even know how we mentioned it. I don't even know how it came up, but I just remember that first live that we did together. There was like several things that you said that I was like, oh my gosh, like I get this girl. And like like your brain like worked very similar to mine. And I remember art was part of that. And we talked at first a lot about art and healing and how so many ex-cult members and like survivors turn to some kind of creative practice as a way to heal. And then combining that and you finding your voice by going and protesting and physically being there. I feel like when you saying my boots were made for walking was like a performance protest. Like that was protest art.
It
Remember?
was.
You didn't even do it on purpose. You did it by accident. It was protest art.
I didn't think about that. That's so fun, but that's really funny that you say that because we talked about it and that was a highlight of the date, like a highlight of the weekend for me, and something that I felt and it wasn't about the product of it. It's not like I expect anyone to I didn't even share the video of it or anything. It's just the process.
No.
I guess it's on there, but the process of just like expressing, and I think other people that were there like had a really good time too in that moment.
Yeah.
So fun.
And,
oh my gosh.
And then to go from that, it just feels very connected to healing and healing as a form of activism or protest. And to see, I saw some of the comments, so we can like go through some of the comments too and read what some people were saying. But people were talking about how a lot of the protesters right now are kind of actually accidentally doing some kinds of like protest art. And it just feels like such an appropriate way to protest a cult. Like, I don't know how else to say that. When you're in a cult, your individual levels of expression are so suppressed that to come out of that and to say like this was wrong with your own self-expression of art is just feels so powerful. And I'm glad that like you almost accidentally did that and then like had the inspiration to write down the names and like it's growing. Like that movement, that form of protest, form of art, form of whatever. It's like there's like momentum behind it. There's something behind it. And it's just really interesting and beautiful to watch. I love it.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I have to give credit too where credit's due, because I think like we also grow to how we surround ourselves. And there has been like who we surround ourselves with. And Serge and Lara FM, you know, being down there, and like Serge was just so supportive about the list. I was just like, Serge, I have this really dumb idea. And he was like, bring it, we're doing it. And so he doesn't get enough credit with this list thing because, you know, it takes that too. And to have real life people, it's one thing to watch these, you know, sort of crazy people on the performance videos we watched, but also to have real life examples like Lara and Serge, I think are the two.
I was going to say Serge and Lara are like the epitome.
Yeah, and they do protest art, and like I don't know that I don't want to classify their art as something. They can call it whatever they want, but
yeah,
you know, Lara's lyrics and music is so speaks to her time in the cult, and even just that, like her whole vibe is just so different than being in a cult. It's like freedom of expression, freedom of I don't know. That's important. That's important to have, and I do really that all the time before you like we've cultivated these ideas with each other, and I don't really have a lot of people that would sit and even talk to me about this for an hour, so so grateful.
I would talk to you about this forever. Like we could do this for however long, whenever, anytime.
I love it. All right, well, let's do some of these comments. I starred probably far too many, but we didn't really do it, so. Oh well. Hi Don, thank you again for modding. Liz, James Smith, can you show everyone the red dress project, the red string project, I'm assuming? Which actually, it's funny that you put red dress because it reminded me of the red hat that like the ladies dress up and put on their red hat.
Yeah.
And
my grandma was part of the red hats.
Yeah, which is like protesting cancer, I think is what their whole deal was, right? Was it a?
I have no idea. I just remember my grandma had a bunch of red hats.
I think it's the Red Hat Society. They are Oh no, it was not. It's whoa, it's way cooler than I thought. It's a social organization for women that encourages women to get their quest to get the most out of life.
I think it might be kind of like a cult, actually.
Okay.
Now that I think about it.
I don't put in red. You will never catch me in a red hat, so I'm out. Let's see. Sorry, I've got to figure out how to do this. The red string project, though, by the way, I'm not going to show it now. It's out in my greenhouse. I need to take more footage. I need to figure out a way to make it more visually appealing on camera. It's really cool to look at in person, but it's not that cool on camera. So I got to figure that out.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool on camera.
Okay, well, thank you.
We're interested in it. We want to see it.
Okay. I'll try to do more then. Hey, Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann is a protester in Portland, and her and I have met up before. She says, I'm not arty at all, but I'm fascinated by this conversation. At least I've never thought of myself as artsy. I need to listen more. Thank you. Well, she made bracelets, and she made me a bracelet as SP, and like it's super cute. That's another. Yeah, I guess there's like. It's hard to tell the difference. I hate it, like arts or crafts, but I think it's very clear performance art is different than the rest of it.
Yeah, I wanted to pull this up because James replied to what you were saying. The Red Dress Project in Canada.
Let's see it.
And it said, I wanted you to mention it. Our Indigenous women go missing every day. I haven't heard about the Red Dress Project.
Let's look at it. Hold on a second. I will do my thing. Everyone's looking at my concentration face, and I hate that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I can't see you guys right now. An aesthetic response to the more than 1,000 missing and murdered Aboriginal women in Canada. I have heard about the actual, a little bit about the issue, but I hadn't heard about this.
Same. Wow, this looks incredible.
I haven't watched the whole thing, but we'll watch it. You can hear it.
To bring attention to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. I've collected hundreds of red dresses, and we display them empty in public spaces. So people are confronted with the violence, both the violence that women are experiencing, but also the presence and power of Indigenous women.
Wow. We're both like, I don't know if you can say, I literally have goosebumps.
Yeah.
See, again, this is the thing that blows my stinking mind about this stuff is it really does. It seems to me that it takes somebody so close to heart to the issue that they like see it in a particular way that nobody else sees it as, and then they can present that.
Yeah.
So not easy. To me, that's like the essence of being a human.
That's incredible. That literally makes me emotional.
Thank you so much, James, for showing that. That absolutely, I'm going to have to put that down on my description, in the description. I almost feel bad putting up the next comment because it's like, that's not something silly, but whatever. Miss Liz uses her boots to walk all over Scientology. You can use yours to walk all over that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Go. Wait. I'm proud. I'm the best mod that exists. I love that. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Auntie I always get this one wrong. Haru. In all honesty, I might possess a bit too much of an engineer mind to enjoy some of the arty stuff. And I wanted to put this up here because maybe another day we can talk. When engineers and artists get together, it is wild times. It is the best. Even if you look at like the mechanics of those huge puppets, an engineer has to do that. That's not easy stuff to accomplish. So don't cut yourself, short. Like don't, Sarah, art. The healing heart. Yep. And Serge also helps other people. You can go onto his channel too. You can click him in the chat there and go to his channel and see he also does art with other people, and I love it too because I'm working on a project that has a has a purpose. I have a vision, like a done, completed idea in my mind. But there's so many other purposes of art where it's just process over product. It's just
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what you end up with. And coming from an early childhood education background, everything is process, not product. Like
Right.
it's just the experience. It's just holding a pencil, holding a paintbrush, smushing around Play-Doh or whatever. There's really no purpose. It's just for the fun of doing it, which is like the most anti-cult. Oh my God.
That's why I love the abstract art. That's why I love that's like a step beyond the abstract art, right? It's so important in like cult recovery because the abstract art, you still get a finished product. But I saw Daniela Mestenik Young, who wrote Uncultured,
Yeah.
and she's on TikTok, and she was in the Children of God cult, and the army makes comparisons between those. She says that her therapist has her all the time do creative practices that don't have a final product because she knits while she makes her cult videos, and she knits things with final products all the time. But she always is like, but I also have art practices and things that I do that don't have a pretty final product that I can't show off or try to sell or tell anybody about. Like that's also a big like therapeutic practice for her, and I find that incredible. What are you what connection did you just make right now? Because I'm like,
yeah. Well, okay. So I have a lot of experience in education, like I said, in early childhood education,
Mhm.
right? So part of what I can do is I can take a blank space and I can create like an age appropriate, high quality early childhood learning environment with all these like
Mhm.
different stations and set up all of these open-ended. That's what everything, like for children, it's all about being open-ended, right? Dramatic play where you pretend, or art is open-ended, discovery is open-ended. And I'm just like, what if we created an art installation for the inner child for adults? And it's just a series of like hands-on, totally like sensory oriented fun just for zero reason. And it's kind of like Dadaism because there's no reason to do it. Oh my God.
Liz, we're on to something.
I am like, it almost makes me feel like full circle in a weird way. My education and all this stuff, and I have no doubt that I could set up. I don't know the last time you played with cornstarch and water, but it's so fun. It makes the weirdest stuff, or like,
I love it.
oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
And that's like especially appropriate for kids who grew up in cults.
Yes.
Because they didn't get that. They didn't get age appropriate anything. Kids in Scientology didn't get age appropriate anything.
Right.
Ever.
And so many things are popular of like craft nights, or like even this here, one of these signs up here. I made it at like a girl's house where you go and you have like a party and drink wine. It was super fun, but you walk away with a product, and there's so many nights. And I don't go to the paint nights because I don't want the product. I don't want like a stupid painting that I made at a wine night. Like I don't need that. Wow, my mind is spinning.
I already have idea. I'm like,
let's freaking collab on this. Let's do something.
Wait, I have to tell you something when this is done.
Okay.
I have to tell you something when this is done.
Okay.
I have a secret idea.
I just think it'd be so cool as a response to trauma, and like not even in a cult. Everybody has trauma. When was the last time that you were allowed to just like totally do something for fun? Oh my God. Like a giant preschool room for grown-ups. Oh my God, let's play dress up. Let's play dress up. Oh my God. Okay. I don't even know if I could keep going. There's something that happens with my body. It's a glimmer. It's a glimmer. It's like the opposite of a trauma response. It's like this excited, like motivated feeling of energy. I love it. I want to bottle give it to everybody. Okay.
We're like, gotta go. We'll keep answering questions.
Yeah. Hold that thought. If it's a good idea, it'll stay.
Yeah.
It'll call again. If it was important, it'll call again. I keep telling my people, if they dare, you can drive OFE. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. I'm
I don't know
taking
what
this
that
one apart. Tell me again when you're ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Peace of mind. It makes you question what is going on. That takes you to question what is this about, and then learn something. And I think that is, now that I'm obsessed with this sort of like inner child thing, I think that is the thing, right? You're like, why are we doing this? It's like, because you needed that, because you're a kid. Because we were kids. Are you just going to be button lipped now till we get off? You have secrets? You've got grand ideas? You just cut the line so you can tell me what's on your mind.
I'm trying to get my head back in the game.
I know. Okay. Well, we probably don't have to read all of these, but I kind of want to go back into the live chat real quick and see.
There were a couple I wanted to read. Let me see. You look at the live chat. I'll go into the star comments.
Yeah, I starred probably too many for us to even get through. So unstar anyone that you don't want. Ooh, I'm gonna pull this comment up while you look at those. I'm gonna get your name wrong. Sinead. Is that right? Like Sinead O'Connor? Is that correct? I hope that's correct. That's why rage rooms are so popular too. Yeah. But that's like the opposite of a rage room. I like the rage room too. I almost feel like there should be a smash room as part of this. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, in conjunction. And I don't understand why rage rooms are so expensive. I looked it up and there's one in town, like in Salem, and it's $50 and they give you this little thing. I'm just like, I can break shit in my garage. Like I can go to the thrift store.
Yeah.
Crap. I'm just not quite that angry. I'm like, if I was feeling angry, I guess I would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go back and forth? Do you want to put one up and then I'll put one?
This is what they were saying. DOA is who they were mentioning that I feel like does a lot of protest art because he paints his van.
Yes.
And he repaints his van all the time too. I hadn't seen his squirrel hat or like his outfits and stuff.
Okay. My husband just got home, so he'll probably bark a little bit more. My husband's like, what the hell are you doing?
And his hammock, I haven't seen him in his hammock or anything. I've only seen poor DOA get swatted over and over again.
Yeah, no, the hammock was really cool because it kind of drew me to realize that it is the opposite of a cult, right? Lazing in a hammock. So it's like irony or whatever.
Love it.
Be quiet. I'm gonna be a brat actually. My husband is home. I'm in the dining room. I feel like we should cut this. Is that okay? Is that all right?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love you guys all, and I want to see all your comments and talk about them more. But
we can do another one for sure.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2. So so quick, but bye. Thank you all.
See you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And just so you know, as soon as we get off, we are going to scheme and plot, and you are going to see some exciting stuff from us, I hope.
Yep.
All right. I wish we had more time, but bye, y'all.
Bye.